Welcome to another edition of the Fatu Network News Review today, 11th February 2019. My name is Omar Wali. I'll be talking to Karamba Toure, a Gambian based in the United States, about the current issues and the Senegalese election. I'll also be talking to Fatou Camara about the Senegalese election and many other issues. And our reporters have been out and about, and they spoke to people about the remarks made by the United Democratic Party spokesperson Almame Fandintal that the APRC party is a one-man party. We will get the opinions of the people, as well as Senegalese living in the country. What do they make of the election, and who do they think will win the 24th of February presidential election? But before all that, I will start with the papers. And on the Standard, Army explains refusal to intervene during the political impasse. The spokesperson of the Gambia Armed Forces, Major Lamin K. Sanyang, has said that the Army's decision not to intervene in the 2016 political impasse was necessary to avoid plunging the country into an anarchy. He said, and I quote, "We refuse to intervene because we consider the whole thing as a political problem that can be solved through negotiations, and that any attempt to force Jammeh would have been chaotic," he told West Coast Radio's Coffee Time with Peter Gomez. And the GAF, he went on and said the GAF was blamed in some quarters for not intervening during the political impasse to force Jammeh out of power after refusing to step down following his loss in election in 2016. But according to the PRO Sanyang, any attempt by the army to use force would be recipe for disaster. Just imagine, despite the fact that no single bullet or shot was fired in the Gambia, Gambians were fleeing the country in their thousands. How about if we fired bullets, the army spokesperson said, we knew it was not going to pan out well for the country because Gambians cannot contain war, even for an hour, talk less of months, Sanyang told Coffee Time with Peter Gomez program on the West Coast Radio. He went on and he said, for those reasons, the army refused to be dragged into the situation where it will be attempted to fire a single bullet. Some of their colleagues, he said, were arrested just to provoke them to retaliate. But he said, and I quote, "We kept our heads down, so that the history will judge us fairly on the positive side." Probably those who are criticizing us did not know what was going on, but we were on the ground and we knew that the activities that were going on, Major Lamin Sanyang told West Coast Radio during an interview. And the army, Gambia is free from unlawful arrest. That is the director of the State Intelligence Services of the Gambia, Osman Sow, has reaffirmed his office commitment to no excessive policy to uphold basic human rights and freedom. Gone are the days after the unlawful harassment, intimidation, arrest, and detention with impunity. People are free to get out with their activities as long as it is within the law and does not threaten national security, DG Sow said at the meeting in Banjul, making the end of his nationwide tour. UDP spokesperson labeled APRC as a one-man party. That is the spokesperson for the United Democratic Party, Almame Fandintal, has branded the opposition APRC party as a one-man regional party, describing former President Jammeh as a proven thief. APRC is one-man-led band, and even with their own Congress, they made a fugitive from justice their life president or great leader. APRC is a very small regional party now, and the only place that they made any kind of noise is in the West Coast region. There is no compromise between them and the United Democratic Party. There's no comparison between them and the United Democratic Party, he told West Coast Radio recently. APRC, Mr. Tal added, is a reason why we have Jammeh Commission and the TRRC. It is not a question of whether they have not done much for the country. The result speaks for themselves. We have, for the first time, seen people disappeared or assassinated. Anything that happened in a country is either happening because we have paid taxes or monies have been given by development partners in our name. No politician can have money to develop the country. It is the people who develop their own country. Almame Fandintal there. And the government injects additional 396 million to groundnut trade season in a wake of recent publication and concern expressing fear over the viability of the groundnut trade season. President Adama Barrow has given directives for the immediate resumption of groundnut buying across the country and makes it categorically clear that the issue of promissory notes and undue delays of purchasing farmers' note can no longer be business as usual. And the police also have warned, the Inspector General of Gambia Police Force is aware of audio circulating excuse me, on social media about the intent demonstration without a permit, which contravenes the principles of democracy. The police, therefore, statement further went on to say, therefore, it is important to note that under Section 178 of the 1997 Constitution, the police force is responsible to preserve, protect, and maintain peace. There is nowhere in the world where a person or group of persons occupy the streets without the consent of the relevant authorities. Whoever presents will be protect life and properties everywhere. And that is the statement from the Gambia Police Force, that they will not compromise any demonstration without a permit. 11 petrol stations closed. Rick's closed, that is the Ansumana Sani, the Director General of the Public Utility Regulatory Authority, PURA, has disclosed that his institution has, since February 1, 2018, dispatched a legal notice to non-compliant service stations to regulate their license status by 7 February 2019, or risks being shut down. However, PURA said it will act by shutting 11 petrol stations this week for failure to comply with Petroleum Product Act. The Point also is reporting that the police warned against demo without permit, and government assaults groundnut farmers, and majority leader lauds the Gambia GRA 2018 performance. And on the Daily News report, Barrow donates $5,000 to women groups. The President of the Republic of the Gambia, President Adama Barrow, has donated $5,000 to the Senegalo-Gambian network of women entrepreneurs and leaders. This said money was delivered to the Senegalo-Gambian network of women entrepreneurs and led leaders by the Speaker of the National Assembly, Mariama Jack Dantin. Mariama Dantin was deputizing for the President in the ongoing trade fair for women entrepreneurs, which is currently underway in the Senegalese second capital of Kaolack. And Honorable Fatoumata K. Jawara restored Bondali MP, that is Honorable Fatoumata K. Jawara of Talinding constituency, processed the remarks made by Honorable Kadi Kamara of Foni Bondali as serious derogatory remarks against UDP and the government of President Adama Barrow. She willfully ignored the bad deeds of President Jammeh and speaks against the recent government, said Jawara. Fatoumata Jawara said that Honorable Kamara deliberately ignored the alleged atrocities committed by the former regime, and is talking about the ones happening under President Adama Barrow. And Foria also is reporting that PURA suspends operation licensing of 11 petrol stations. They're also reporting that local cement importers allege unfairness, and the chiefs were retired, not dismissed. That is the Minister of Local Government and Lands. And Musa Drame said the ministry did not sack or dismiss any chief, that instead those chiefs were retired. Drame said this in an interview with the reporter on Friday, 7th February 2019, at his office in Banjul. Drame explained that the affected chiefs were retired based on their age, that the decision to retire the said chiefs did not come from his department, but were conveyed as executive directives from the Office of the President, that the Office of the President is responsible for appointing and retiring or sacking of district chiefs or sefolu. And on the Voice newspaper, Voice also is reporting that PURA to shut down 12 petrol stations, and the Gambia Police Force is to ensure peace and tranquility in the country. And they're also reporting that Gambia cancer patient kicked out of the British hospital. A Gambian man who had been diagnosed with terminal cancer has been sent away from a British hospital because he was not eligible for free NHR care. According to the Guardian newspaper, Salum 54, who campaigned against female genital mutilation, has asked for his surname not to be used, fled from the Gambia about 10 years ago after risking his life by challenging the government for condemning the widespread use of FGM. Three-quarters of Gambian women aged 15 to 49 have undergone FGM, he stated. After Salom reached in the United Kingdom, he was subjected to a labor exploitation and remained under the radar of the authorities until he collapsed on a Debris Street on the 27th of February last year and was taken to Royal Debris Hospital. Candidly proud to be a Fuller, that's Mama Kande. The Gambia Democratic Congress leader, Mama Kande, has told compatriots that he is nobody but a Fuller, and he can be a member of only a tribe as God has destined him. He made these remarks at the first Congress of Tabatel Pogal Mboga, the Gambia Fulani International Organization, on Saturday, which organized its first National Congress to elect a new executive members at a local hotel. The organization is an international aim at uniting the Fuller language and also addressing the welfare and challenge of Fuller ethnic groups across the globe. Kande commended the organizers and also described the event as first of its kind in the Gambia. So that's all we have for you on the papers. I will turn to a story that remarks made by the United Democratic Party spokesperson Almame Fandintal that APRC party is a one-man or regional party. And our reporter has been, Jack Assise, Jed has been out and sampled the opinion of few people. Let's take a listen.
Taking APRC as a one-man party, I think if you look at it at a certain aspect, you can say yes, because recently Jammeh is elected again as the party leader. So like every other person, you would all think that they could have gone for someone else, but taking Jammeh again for him to be the leader of the party, then you can conclude by saying it is a one-man party.
So what do you have to add on that?
Well, I think after all the atrocities that Jammeh has done, I think it would be necessary for APRT to go on with someone else and then get away with Jammeh because he is now part of the past.
Okay. Do you think APRC has chances of being ruling the Gambia again?
Well, that is not easy to answer, but I think anything is possible when it comes to politics. Although they've been going down the pecking order, we've seen the likes of UDP, they are coming up again, and then the party of Mama Kande, which is GDP. But they should try their chances though, but I think their chances are slim.
Yeah, Jammeh was here and he was very powerful. Everybody knows that. And because he was very powerful, he tended to control every institution and everybody. And because of that, he has a large follow-up. And we can see of recent, even though the party is not moving as expected, but there are people taking off the party a bit. So that's why I said it depends who is talking and who is believing whether APRC is one-man party or not. But I differ, my opinions differ from what he believes after all.
Do you think Yahya Jammeh will be the only person that will rule the APRC? Because he has just been recently elected as the party leader again. Do you think he has chances of becoming...
No, I don't believe he is the only one capable. But being the party leader, I think I read an article where the chairman of the IEC said Jammeh is not the party leader. APRC people are opinion that he is a spiritual leader, a superior leader, and not the party leader.
I think Almame is entitled to his opinion like any other Gambian. Because like current state of the country, everyone advocates for democracy and democracy calls for that. It depends on how one takes it. But for me, I think APRC currently is a very big party still now. It's not like how we thought initially, like if Jammeh leaves the country, the entire team will die out. But yet still, Jammeh is having loyalists in the country. I have the belief that APRC is not seeing any other person except Jammeh. If there is no Jammeh at all, followers will actually leave the party. I think that's the reason why he may consider as one-man party, because it's only Jammeh who they believe can be their potential leader to steer the affairs of their party.
Hey, what are you doing here? I'm going to replace my AfriCell 3G SIM card.
Why use a 3G SIM card when you have a 4G phone? Replace your 3G SIM card today for the real AfriCell 4G SIM and receive 1 gigabyte of internet data for free.
Really?
Yes, get 1 gigabyte for free just by replacing your SIM card at any AfriCell outlet with no loss of contact. The cost of bundle from the 3G SIM card is the same for the 4G SIM. And guess what? With the 4G SIM card, you can also connect to the 3G network as well.
This is so cool. I'll replace my 3G SIM card right away to the real 4G SIM and receive my very own 1 gigabyte for free.
From AfriCell, it's always real and it's for free.
Where AfriCell goes, no one has the speed to follow.
That was a report prepared, interview Vox Pop with people on the streets of Serekunda, where the APRC is a one-man party, original party, as a statement made by the spokesperson for the United Democratic Party, Almame Fandin Tal. Now, ahead of Senegalese presidential election on the 24th of this month, Senegalese in the Gambia have been sharing their opinions with our reporter Fatou Sane. Let's take a listen to this. As you may know, dozens of people, including the incumbent president, are participating in campaigning for February 24th presidential election, and the key contenders include Idrissa Seck and Madi Kenyan. We have seen also Sonko, who is also vying for the highest office. Let's take a listen to that clip.
Ousmane, how did you see election in Senegal being on the 24th of February?
xanaa jàmm ak salaam rek ñaan yàlla ñu dem ci ak jàmm yegg ci ak jàmm door leen door bu rëy inshallah te am naa yaakaar ne élection bii ñu jëm si ñii nga xam ne ni ñoom lañ ko booleel du seen morom du seen nattangoo dana leen duma dana leen daan te premier tour la leen di daan 80%.
président la jàmbaar la liggéeykat la waaw taxawal na ay projet yooyu matagut man ñi ma amoon ci yaakaar ne war nañ ko fa mën a jëlee ñooñu bokkuñ ci élection bi muy Karim Wade ak Khalifa Sall mais ginnaaw ñooñu bokkuñu xamal na Macky dina am deuxième mandat dégg nga
ñaata deret moo tuur bu Macky Sall falu Macky Sall dafa fàtte loolu yëpp opposant bu wax mu jàpp tëj Karim Wade mu génne ci dëkk bi kenn amatul sañ-sañ pour kaas kenn amatul droit wax boo waxee sañu jàppale yóbbu la dëkk comprendre nga instant bi nag ñun war nañoo xeexal suñuy sët ak suñuy doom ñun dañoo sacrifié ba pare jàpp duñu ci dara l'essentiel mooy suñuy doom ak suñuy sët ñoo ci des léegi ñun nag ñoo mën a xeex pour loolu comprendre nga élection yi ñëw na ba pare bu kenn xeex bu kenn xuloo nañ def suñuy carte def suñu poste élection yi bu jotee bu ñëwee ñu dem folli Macky Sall falaat keneen kooku de bu ñëwee def comme ni Macky Sall defa ñu folli waa ko tagaat keneen Afrique loolu moo koy doxal affaire bi nekkatu ay politique comme naa ñu bu ñu nangu kenn di ñëw mu ñuy diriger si suñu xel wala mu ñuy nax politiciens yi balaa ngeen leen gis élection daa jot.
laa tudd.
noo gisee élection bi ñëw ni Sénégal.
waaw élection yi ni ma gisee sant yàlla rek parce que loo gis day jeex ku fekkee jamono Abdou Diouf astafurlah jamono Senghor ñoo fekkee jamono Abdou Diouf ñoo fekkee jamono Abdoulaye Wade ñoo fekkee jamono Macky Sall sant yàlla la kon ñu ni Macky Sall day jàpp ay doomu jaamur et puis di tëj Abdoulaye Wade jàpp fi Mbaye Diouf directeur chemin de fer jàpp fi Idrissa Seck jàpp fi keneen kii nag yàlla moo ko fal si ay waxtu ku yàlla fal na doomu aadama mun si dara su ma demee nag ba ab président naan ma jël sa carte d'identité xotti ko kooku bëggul Sénégal jëm kanam parce que lii si ngay jël sa xaalis lii si ngay génnee frontière lii si ngay wootee sa président ku la ne xotti sa carte d'identité kooku xam-xamam moo jeex tey Abdoulaye Wade tey bu nekkoon sama maam dootu joxe dépense day dem jaamu ji yàlla dootu joxe dépense dafay dem jaamu ji yàlla guddi yi ñu dese Abdoulaye Wade lépp lu mu wax rek day naax man dama ko jàppee maam day bànneexu kon danañ ko jàppee maam day bànneexu mais nag Macky dañ koy ñaanal yàlla saxal ko fi te wér te li mu def diggante Gambie ak Sénégal rek sant yàlla tey bu doon Gambien tey am nañu right pour voter Sénégal gëm naa ne Gambien yëpp Macky Sall lay jox seen carte.
laa tudd.
Ibou Diop naka gisee élection bi ñëw ni Sénégal.
xanaa pëcc xool rek élection yi jaarul yoon carte yoo xam ne 55 milliards lañ ko defaree 55 milliards te kenn ku ne mënut a jot sa carte xam nga ne loolu du yoon Macky Sall lu muy def tegu ko fenn bëgg use nit ñi seen xel bëgg leen utiliser seen xel pour jàll leen loolu mënuñu koo nangu ñun xam na lu mu pare na élection neen day gagné à 60% ci élection yi pare na moom nee na gagné na ba pare ci lu mu wax nee na gagné na ba pare kon loolu kay mooy sàcc na ku préparé ay élection mais wax loolu mais ku nekk ci campagne di dem doo wax loolu.
élection yi Sénégal yu war a ñëw nii nu ma ko gisee daal mooy Macky ndam rek incha allah na Macky moom du moromi gars yi wax jee ci nekk nii rek waaye Macky da leen di duma noonu la demee rek.
te élection yi maanaam jeex na ba pare ndax Macky Sall sàcc na élection yi ba pare ndax carte d'identité yi ñi jot ak ñi jotul ñoom ñëpp ñoo tolloo presque waaw élection yi daal moom xam naa daal moom ñu ngi ciy dem waaye sàcc na ko pare ndax Macky Sall dictateur la waaw Macky Sall dictateur bu mag a mag ci Sénégal démocratie Sénégal yëpp yàq na ko.
The Gaitaf Special Economic Zone is a 160-hectare mixed-use business park strategically located within the boundaries of Banjul International Airport, The Gambia. It is the only economic zone located within an airport in West Africa. Gaitaf Special Economic Zone is segmented into 4 separate zones: Commercial Zone, Industrial and Light Manufacturing, Logistics and Warehousing, Residential Zone. It is a highly secured economic zone with top-notch infrastructure, with eco-friendly buildings and beautiful landscaping. With attractive incentives and access to a pool of labor within the Gambia and the sub-region, the Gaitaf Special Economic Zone has already completed warehouses available to investors. Located less than 30 minutes away from the international seaport of Banjul, investors in the Special Economic Zone will enjoy a unique proximity to major markets around the world, including Africa, Europe, America, and Asia. For additional information, please visit www.gaitaf.com.
Senegalese, they are talking to Fatou Sane about the election slated for 24th of this month. You may remember, you may know that Senegalese will be going to election to elect their president on the 24th of this month. To take the story forward, we'll be talking to some Gambians based outside the country. What do they make of this election? What impact will it have on their neighboring country, that is the Gambia? And we will sample the opinion of other people as well about the Senegalese election. And Macky Sall is running, and Idrissa Seck as well, and Madické Niang also is vying for the highest office. And let's take a listen. Hello?
Yes, Omar. Hello.
Yes. Welcome to the Fatou Network.
Thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Viewers, that is Karamba Toure there, a Gambian based in the United States, and we'll be discussing about the current issues as well as Senegalese election. Mr. Toure, what do you make of this election? Senegalese will be voting for president on the 24th of this month. How significant is this election to the Gambia?
Well, as an ordinary Gambian citizen, I am somewhat indifferent to who the Senegalese ultimately choose. My hope is that they will choose somebody who is competent, who has fresh ideas, and who is forward-looking. But strictly speaking, I don't have a dog in the fight. I do confess to personally liking Mr. Sonko. His youthful vigor and what I have heard from him looks like he represents something fundamentally different from the kind of institutional canned politics we know is typical of Africa, that included. But having said that, ultimately it is up to the Senegalese to make an objective judgment as to who can move their country forward and who can best bring in the development and then the democratic consolidation we aspire for. Now, relative to Gambia, I believe, like most Gambians, that Senegal is the most important bilateral relationship we have. They are neighbors, they are brothers. So what happens in Senegal obviously has consequences for us, and that nothing is more important than having proper leadership in Senegal. So to that extent, I would believe that whether Mr. Sonko or Mr. Sall or whoever they ultimately get elected, we have to pay attention to what their policy is. I will just add that I am entirely unhappy with our overall Senegal policy as it stands right now. I think it's not properly managed, and I also think that it is not representative of what a good, important bilateral relationship should be. So I'm concerned in that regard. But at the end of the day, I hope the Senegalese would make a wise choice. My personal preference, if I were a Senegalese, would be that I would vote for Mr. Sonko, personally. But I'm not a Senegalese, so if they choose somebody else, I'll be happy.
Do you also have this belief that there have been this mantra among Gambians that Senegalese, particularly President Macky Sall, meddle in the Gambia's political affairs? Do you also have a similar feeling?
No, I do not believe he meddles. What I believe is happening is that we are mishandling our relationship with Senegal. If you have a critical bilateral relationship, Omar, you need to have wisdom, you need to have an institutional setup that manages that relationship, and then you need to very carefully evaluate each of your policies that you share with that bilateral relationship, that you weigh it, and then you make sure that it represents what is in your best interest as well as is equally beneficial to both sides. I do not believe that is happening. I think the administration has effectively personalized Senegalese policy, and is not being handled well at all. I think our brothers across the border are kind of eating our lunch because we are not very careful about how we put together our policies and then how we execute. So that is a function of the kind of leadership we have. I am not going to blame. If I come over to the Wali household and then you invite me for lunch, I eat your lunch and then I eat the seed out of your children too. That is your fault. You know, it is up to you to make sure that you manage your relationships with. And then this is not only specific to Senegal, but Senegal is the most important bilateral relationship we have in the security sector, in the economic sector, and then in the overall integration formula we want for Africa. But we are not managing our side of the deal very well, and I think the grants are taking us out for lunch. So I'm very concerned about that, and but that is a function of the leadership we have. I'm not happy at all about our Senegal policy in total. I think it's not being properly managed, and we need to take a very strong look at it. And I'm very disappointed that Parliament seems aloof about this whole issue, and the executive branch is not doing a good job of managing the relationship. That's my view.
What do you think is the best way out in ensuring that we have a mutual respect, mutual interest, instead of being mismanaged?
My approach would be, because Senegal is so important, it is so critical to national security, to economic security, and to the model that we want to project for regional integration and then African integration. It's a very important portion. I believe on the Gambia side, we need to have a complete institutional setup where the president sets up an interagency committee that involves senior and experienced people who knows how the world works. They sit down and then they craft this policy and then they approach it in a holistic manner where you have input and the president gets good advice, and then Gambia has good negotiating positions, and then you have experienced people handling those files. You understand? That is not happening now. I think we go in, and then the Senegalese are very good at how they run their Gambia policy. They use a combination of flattery and a very sophisticated intelligence setup where they know precisely what our thinking is, and when we go to the table, they clean it up, and this is not right. I think you got to have much more serious approach where you bring in people, interagency, different ministries, get good experts that can advise cabinet and the president specifically, and then if you need to do classified briefings, prepare the people, and then have the policy be informed by that, rather than just impulse and feel good. And just look at the bridge, Omar. I mean, who gets talked into opening your own bridge when it is before it is ready, and you spend this much money, and then it's all political nonsense? Why did we have to do that? Makes no sense. I am not saying don't invite the Senegalese president, but construct the bridge When it is done, give your bridge its own name. And then invite him and then come. That has nothing to do with whether or not you support full integration with Senegal. You understand? But it's symptomatic of a relationship that has gone haywire because it's not properly managed. I mean, if you construct something, you need to finish it. Invite your friends and your allies, and then bring in people, have a proper ceremony, which is moderate. But then they kind of just ran over down there and then brought musicians and opened a bridge that is not ready. If your network wants to go to Farafenni now, you got to go into the ferry. What is that? Why did we have to do that? So I'm telling you this because it's symptomatic of how we are mismanaging the relationship.
Imagine you have been asked to give name to that bridge. What name will you give to... Excuse me. I said, imagine you have been asked to give name to the bridge that connects both north and south of both Gambia and Senegal. What name will you give it to the bridge?
I will give the bridge the name it has always had. This bridge is in Bambatenda, Yilitenda. What is wrong with calling it Bambatenda, Yilitenda Bridge? What is wrong with calling it Trans-Gambia? But that has nothing to do, it takes nothing away from the objective, which is we want greater regional integration and bigger trade. But you do not have to forego your own identity to make a foolish political point. It makes no sense. I mean, Omar, we have to call you Omar Wali. Yeah. That's who you are. Everything else you do is subsequent to that. You don't have to change your name for you to be anything, to be the excellent journalist that you are. But we got to call you Omar, I hope, for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
You don't change, for political expediency and nonsense. They wasted millions of dollars opening a bridge, bringing Sunduk and Jaliba, and for a bridge that is not ready. The bridge is not going to be ready until in July. Why do you do something of that sort? I mean, tell me there's no objective reason to do it. None. If the bridge is not ready and then Mr. Tal wants the bridge, just tell him, look, it's not ready. If you want to do a drive-by during your campaign, we can do that, but we are not going to open it. It's not ready.
Now, let's talk about the APRC. Let's talk about the APRC. The spokesperson for the United Democratic Party, Almame Fandintal, said it's a regional or a one-man party. What do you make of that? Is that the case? Is APRC a regional party or a one-man party?
Omar Wali, APRC as a national party is functionally dead. They will never be elected into national office ever again. They have collapsed in every part of the country. Now, I mean, who in their right mind will think that APRC can get elected in Badibu, in Kiang, in CRR, in West Coast, in KMC, in Banjul? Nobody will vote for it. Now, what you keep seeing is a party that has a few thousand kind of what I call political orphans. You understand? They are sort of Yaya Jammeh type refuseniks who don't understand democracy. They are kind of totally out of touch with reality. They are nursing the fantasy that somehow the dictatorship and the tyranny and murder that they have cheered on for 20 years has a remote possibility of coming back. There is no way that they are going to come back. No one will vote for them. So every time you go to Brikama or Serakunda or Bundung, you put a few thousand people in one of these narrow streets, and we don't even have big open spaces in our area anyway. So you can always bring a few thousand people, put them on top of gele-geles, and then talk. You can do that every now and then you can do that. It has no meaning. APRC will not come back ever. Every election cycle, they will atrophy, and then the people that are clinging onto them, the few thousand people, they will give into exhaustion and lack of political progress. No way. You will not find anybody in his right sense mind frame to say, well, dictatorship was such a great thing. I'm going to go back and then do everything. I'll put money, I'll put ideas to make sure that the very people that represented that somehow are back into play. I think they're just trying to put up a show and that sort of thing. But I think Almami is quite right that Gambians in total, I'm talking about every section of the country, few people in Fonyi would still do it, 1 election cycle, 2 election cycles, but after the 3rd election cycle, they will give into reality and exhaustion. They are not coming back to power, ever again. I think that is clear to everybody except them. So Fabakary Tombong Jatta cannot win in Talinding, explain to me how he's going to be able to exert influence in Same, where I am from. They're not going to have anybody to vote for them there. Nobody would vote for them in Basse. Nobody would vote for them in Brikama or anywhere. They are dead.
You call them political orphans, but at least they won some seats in the local government elections and even in the parliamentary elections.
Yes.
And whenever they call for a rally, thousands of people will attend.
Okay.
Like a good example was the one in West Coast region.
Okay. Here is my answer to that. It is, if you notice, look, you got to look at the numbers. They are winning in one specific area. It is the same demographic. It's the same voters. When they do rallies, those are the same people they pull in. You notice that they have not done a rally in Parafenye or anywhere else since then. After it's either Brikama or Bundo, because it's logistically easier to kind of truck those people back in and then they come in. But to be viable as a national political party, Omar, you have to be competitive in all of the regions. If you are a big player in one section of all of their support in Pony, one UDP's support in Brikama alone nullifies all of that. So it tells you that the numbers are not there. Then you can always bring a few thousand people to elect a few people to the council seat, and then the distribution doesn't favor them. You know, they can't win anywhere else. Nobody will vote for them in Banjul. They have collapsed in the city of Banjul. Remember, they carry all that city. They have collapsed in KMC by and large. They still have a few thousand people between KMC and West Coast, and then they have a few more thousand in Fonyi. So this is essentially what is left of these political orphans. They have nowhere to go. So they will do this back and forth until they give into exhaustion, because the rest of the country will adamantly refuse to entertain them. They ought to be prosecuted. That's the view of most people. So there is no way that these guys would amount to anything other than kind of just withering away into the... No one will vote for them. None. I don't care what rallies they do. They can do months. They will do a rally in Serakunda or in Brikam, and then they might do one in Fonyi. And then they will go through the... They will call you guys for press conferences and talk this and that and that and that. But they are as dead as wood. And then unlike Lazarus, these people are not coming away from the dead. Because, there is no constituency for tyranny and dictatorship. None. People didn't like Yahya Jammeh. They were afraid of him. So he got all these 20-year calamity that he brought onto the country. Most of it was driven by fear. There was no love for APRC. You couldn't love these people. They're horrible people. No one will vote for them. So I think they are done. I mean, they will go through the motions, and you guys will cover them every now and then, press conference, this and that and that and that. But as far as political viability is concerned, these guys are out of business.
If there is no love, like you said, Jammeh, but Jammeh left this country 2 years now, and still now we have seen thousands of people attending their rallies. What is that also? How would you describe that?
Yes, okay, that is also true. But it all comes back to the same numbers that I've been trying to tell. It's the same refusal. If you go to Germany now, almost 70 years after Hitler was gone, there are people that are identified Nazis. They will never run the Federal Republic of Germany, but they are there. Society just tolerates them because they cannot bring themselves to redeem themselves. Because you got to understand, Omar, it takes a lot of hard-heartedness to support tyranny, murder, and mayhem. Ordinary, decent people can't do it. They may be quiet out of fear, but they are not going to be card-carrying supporters of this kind of evil. So the constituent, very small, cannot grow. There is no way anybody will ever be president of the Gambia if you don't carry Combo and KMC. These guys will never. I mean, how do you expect people in Gunjur and Kadong to vote for these people? They're never going to vote. They didn't vote for them. So they can't win. So it's the same people. The thousands of people you see, it is the same refuse that recycle every time. And these are the same people. When Fabakary Tombong calls for a press conference at his home, they will go down to Talinding and then crowd there. But you notice Fabakary Tombong cannot win in Talinding because the majority of Talinding people are decent, and then they are done with it. They're not going to vote for them. Who's going to get them into office? It's the people. The people will not vote for these people. It's as simple as that. Forget about Badibu. I don't think they can even set foot in Badibu. How do you see APRC going to Salikenya and then doing a rally? Never. It's not going to happen ever again. They cannot do it in Kiam. They cannot do it in Sierra. They cannot do it in URR. All this is prancing around in Combo and Pony, and that's it. And they will get tired of it and go away. But they are not coming back. But as a democracy, we have to tolerate them. I am not one that says you need to legislate banning them. The people will ban them through democratic rejection. So you kind of just leave them around, and then they will invite you guys, and then because you guys don't take anybody's side, you will go and listen to, and broadcast what they have to say. That's it. Your job is to report on that, but there is zero viability in APRC because they are an awful, terrible party that Gambians will have nothing to do with. None. They will embrace other parties or stay home, but for some people, they would rather take cyanide than vote for APRC. They're not going to do it.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ture, for your time.
Thank you for inviting me, Omar. Good job on your network there, and my gratitude to you and your colleagues.
Thank you so much. That is Karamba Ture, the Gambian based in the United States, talking about the Senegalese election and the current issues in the country. I will also try Fatou Camara and see. You have seen recently she has been campaigning or throw their support behind President Macky Sall, the incumbent president, who is vying for the second time in Senegal. Let me see if I can lay my hand on Fatou online and ask her a few questions. Hello? Hello, Fatou? Well, I'll keep trying. Hello? Hello? Well, hello?
Yes. Hello?
Yes. How are you doing today, Fatou?
What's that?
Say, how are you doing today?
Oh, fine, thank you. Why can't I see you guys?
Oh, you can't see us. Maybe. Okay, I can see you now.
Okay.
Okay. As you know, Senegalese will be electing president on the 24th of this month. And the incumbent, Macky Sall, is vying for the second time. So you tell us, why are you supporting Macky Sall? We have been seeing posting videos, campaigning for him, and so on. Why Macky Sall and not Idrissa Seck, Madické Niang, Sonko, and the other candidates?
Yeah, well, I will just ask anybody the same question back to them. Why would I not support Macky Sall as an individual, as a Gambian who everybody knows my ties to Senegal, my connections to Senegal, and, as an independent individual, I have a right to support who I want. I could have supported Sonko or Idi or whoever, but I believe that the change that I want to see in Senegal, that I'm very frequent at, Macky is doing that. So I think based on that, I have every reason to support him based on what he's doing, his work, and yes.
When you said change in Senegal, what exactly do you mean? What changes you doing?
Of course, there's something that everybody is seeing. I mean, we have seen the development that has taken place in the Diamniadio area. We have all seen that, and we have seen the train station that would connect people from the airport all the way to the city of Dakar without paying 25,000 from the airport all the way to your hotel. So now it's going to be cheaper and it's going to be faster. We saw that. And when it comes to diplomatic relations too with Senegal, we have seen how the world leaders respected Senegal. We were in this fight. Many a times I spoke to other government officials outside of Gambia and, foreign ones for that matter. And I could remember a very, very, very prominent government saying to me at one of the meetings, what is Macky saying about the situation? That means he has all the respect. He's very well respected as well.
So do you also have a belief, this is a question I asked Karamba not long ago, that is Senegal meddling or President Sall meddling in Gambia's political affairs?
Well, I wouldn't believe that. If he is meddling, then our government is up to him meddling in their affairs, because every president is to look for the interest of their country. So if he is looking out for the interest of his country, what is stopping our people from looking out for the interests of the Gambia as well. So I do not believe he's meddling, because I believe that, that government, I don't even know what to say, but I think they should also start looking for the interests of the Gambia. That is, if there is meddling at all. I am not in the government. I've been looking at situations. For instance, the reason why people are saying that, maybe it could be because of the opening of the bridge, which some people say is not ready. It could be that. But I feel that if he is meddling, then that is a question we have to ask the Gambia government, is if that is true, and why are they allowing it?
So because of the bridge, because of the roads in Dakar and so on, that's why you supported Macky for the second time.
I said I agree with his policies. I agree with the development that he's doing, and I think that the guy is doing a great job. And also how the Senegalese stood for the Gambia when that time came. Actually, and I'm not saying about sending ECOMIC there, because that is the work of ECOWAS. But I was saying, if you could remember, the Gambians ran to the border. And when that happened, I had an interview. I was in the diaspora, and I interviewed Gambians in Senegal at that time, and they did say that they were having lunch, they were having dinner, they were all on the Senegalese, and they were even providing them with cigarettes to smoke. They told me, and those records are there, they did say that they did not even have to buy anything with their money. So, all of these reasons, I believe in Macky, and I believe in the South and his government.
What similar thing happened in the Gambia, during Jammeh's time, when there's a rebel attack in Casamance. People flee from the southern part of Senegal and come to the Gambia. They'll provide shelter. They will give them so on and so forth. Is that not the same?
Well, yes. Well, that is fine. That could also be somebody else's reason for supporting them. I mean, that's not me. You just asked me about my reasons, and I just stated them.
Did Macky did something for you? That's why it's so special to you.
What is that? I missed that.
Did he support you in any way during the struggle, or when you're in difficult moments? That's why you say, let me also reciprocate what he did.
Well, you see, many people ask that question, and the fact that when I left the Gambia, the first country that I went to was Senegal. A lot of people ask, but like I said, I am not going to talk about that. But all I say is, when the time comes, I'll talk about how I left the Gambia. But one thing I know, Macky and I do not know each other like that.
Okay. You told me so many personal things about you. We discussed so many private things. Did Macky help you escape when you were arrested, detained 25 days, and you end up fleeing Gambia and you are in Senegal, and finally moved to the United States?
Okay, I did not say Macky helped me escape.
I'm asking you.
I'm just saying I did not say that, and that is not the reason why I said I am supporting the Macky government or a Macky second term. That has absolutely it's just me supporting him based on what I'm seeing in Senegal, being somebody who is very, very frequent in Senegal all the time. So I believe in Macky Sall, and I believe in his policies.
Did he render any personal support to you during the struggle?
Again, I said I do not know him like that. So if you don't know people like that, I mean, if they support you, if anybody support me, I'll come out and say thank you very much to this person. They supported me. I don't soul Jeff. What the Wolof calls soul Jeff, I don't do that. If somebody do something good for me, I will come out any day, anytime, and post it on my Facebook and say thank you. Because like I always say, I'm an independent woman, and I depend on me and me alone.
What level do you want to see this relationship in the event that Macky won, or another person won? What level do you want to see Gambia-Senegal relationship?
Well, I think already we have a very cordial relationship, and I would want that to continue, because there were times when we were driving to Senegal, it was very difficult. Like the douane will stop you every maybe 5-10 minutes, asking to search your vehicle. But I've seen that we don't have that. I drove to Senegal a few times, and we don't see that anymore. And I think now we are all, the two countries are closer together, and I would just want to see that. I would want to see the two countries improve on that.
Well, finally, what will be your final message before you leave?
Well, my message is I think people should understand that everybody has a right to support who they want. I am Fatou Camara. I am a Gambian. I am an individual. I am not the Fatou Network. The Fatou Network, I was just listening to you right now, playing some interviews with some guys who are saying they do not support Macky because he locked people up. I heard that. So that would tell anybody who is reasonable that the Fatou Network is separate from Fatou Camara, and the views of the Fatou Network is not mine, and mine is not the Fatou Network. Because if my views are that of the Fatou Network and the the staff, I will have Omar Wali supporting Macky Sall. I would have Lamin Jai and every other staff support them. But what I've seen with our people is it has to be their way or else. When we were fighting Yaya Jammeh, nobody was telling me, don't fight like this because you are a journalist. But now because of what I'm doing, they're like, oh, you are a journalist, don't do that. I just want to say nobody would dictate what I do. I would do what Fatou Camara feels that is okay and what Fatou Camara wants to do. I will continue to do that. I'm aware of, I heard videos of people insulting me. I'm just saying that back to sender, because if you insult somebody's mother, that means you don't respect your own mother. What I am doing, I have no regret over it. I will support Macky today, I will support him tomorrow, and I will support him the next day. If you don't like it, you do something about that.
Well, thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome. Thank you. Bye.
Well,
Bye.
that's Fatou Camara there, who is supporting the incumbent Senegalese president, Macky Sall. So, viewers, that's all we have for you today. From me and my team, we thank you so much for your time. Till tomorrow. Bye for now.